Wait, the Buffalo Bills might not hire Joe Brady as their offensive coordinator? You can see the report here that the Buffalo Bills had an interview with a former quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, Thad Lewis, for the offensive coordinator role. Now, before I get into the reasons why I believe the Buffalo Bills interviewed Thad Lewis, you can see this statement here that the Buffalo Bills offense finished the 4th best offense in the league, the 6th best offense in total points per game, and the Buffalo Bills won 5 straight games to close out 2023 season and defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers in the wild card playoffs. So why is it the Buffalo Bills interviewed Thad Lewis for our offensive coordinator role? And the first reason being, Brandon Beane wants to get maybe a new perspective on what someone else outside this building has planned for the Buffalo Bills going forward with Josh Allen. And I think having someone else come in, having the fact that we did not have a lot of explosive plays last year, kind of because Joe Brady couldn't put his own flair on things, adapting an offense from Brian Daboll to Ken Dorsey, then getting passed on to Joe Brady. Maybe the Buffalo Bills just wanted to hear some fresh thoughts as to how someone could improve this offense. I think Thad Lewis could come in with some game film study and be like, hey, look, in this situation, Joe Brady, Ken Dorsey, and you did this in the past, but my thought here is that we could do this, and maybe it would result in more explosive plays. And the other point here is that Thad Lewis did play for the Buffalo Bills, and knowing his willingness to come to Buffalo, that is a huge factor in selecting a long-term offensive coordinator. Is Thad Lewis or Joe Brady or our future offensive coordinator going to be happy staying here in Buffalo long term? We ultimately don't want a one-year stint. It takes a couple years, few years to get things firing on all cylinders as a coordinator. So a lot of speculation going on here between why the Buffalo Bills would bring in an additional offensive coordinator to interview, and some saying that Joe Brady doesn't want to be here and maybe he would pursue a different place. But we could see here that the Rooney Rule is in full effect, even according to Bill Belichick. The Falcons and many other teams across the NFL had to pursue a coach, whether that's a head coach, coordinator, of a minority. So the Atlanta Falcons, including the Buffalo Bills, bringing in a coach of a minority to compete and also listen to an interview. Ejiro Evero completed the meeting here for the Atlanta Falcons, and it says that Evero meeting officially puts Atlanta in compliance with the Rooney Rule. And I know that's a head coaching position, but we could see here that the NFL requires every team to interview at least 2 external minority candidates for a head coaching position and at least 1 external minority candidate for a coordinator job. Being the Buffalo Bills really only had Joe Brady as an interim offensive coordinator, and we never solidified the fact that he was an offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. We were obligated to interview a person of minority for this offensive coordinator role. And just like Ejiro Evero, the Atlanta Falcons were obligated to bring in someone of a minority to interview for their head coaching position. Now, by no means am I saying this is the only reason why we brought in Thad Lewis, and there could very well be additional candidates the Buffalo Bills bring in. And I think it really does boil down to listening to another perspective. I mean, we have a lot of trust with Joe Brady. It's clear as day what Joe Brady did adapting his philosophies under Ken Dorsey's offense, winning 5 of the last regular season games, even winning a playoff game, taking control mid-season, even listening to Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane talk about how hard that actually is. So much put on the plate with Joe Brady, and us kind of trusting the fact that we bring in DJ Mangus, his longtime friend, going all the way back to LSU, and I really think DJ Mangus could very well be our quarterback coach under Joe Brady, but Brandon Beane always does his due diligence. We need to listen to everyone that's out there. I think Joe Brady is clearly the top candidate for the Buffalo Bills to be offensive coordinator in 2024 and beyond. And I'm sure Thad Lewis, as a former quarterback, after coming to Buffalo and actually wanting to play for Buffalo in the past, especially when we were nobody, the laughingstock of the NFL, I think it just kind of made a lot of sense to bring in Thad Lewis to listen what he has to say as a former cornerback. Maybe he's got some game film study as a fresh perspective to give us some additional information to learn about ourselves, to see how someone else sees us outside this building and how we could ultimately implement some of those things for this upcoming season. And who knows, maybe Thad Lewis came in here and completely blew Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott away, and they're like, this is a future Hall of Fame offensive coordinator, and we will do anything that we can to get him here. But for me, seeing what Joe Brady did, seeing the relationship that Joe Brady has with Josh Allen in this entire offense, clearly an attitude change, a lot more energy was brought, a lot more fun, especially on the offensive side of the ball, came about as soon as Joe Brady took over. And we can clearly see that it ignited this entire team. It ignited Josh Allen and his ways of just being a backyard type football player. Countless times we saw Joe Brady in the booth, extremely hyped up, freaking out about the success of our players. And countless times during the game, we saw Josh Allen on the headset talking to Joe Brady up in that booth. And I think they definitely have a great relationship, and we could build upon that going forward. Without Joe Brady really being able to put his own flair on things during the season, maybe we wanted to sit down with Joe Brady after the year, give him a week to actually fully listen to what his idea is to evolve this offense forward. Get some more insights from Joe Brady as to how he sees things fit. Whether we want to bring in another top-notch wide receiver to pair with Stephon Diggs. Whether we want to maybe bring in a Derrick Henry or a Nick Chubb to get defenses to stack the box, and giving a little bit more time to Joe Brady to sit down, digest the season. Joe Brady understands every single player on this team. He understands what they're good at, what they're not good at. If the Buffalo Bills were to bring in a new offensive coordinator, he would have to learn all the players. He would implement his own scheme, and I think there would definitely be lag time before we start hitting on all cylinders. I know the speculations are high here that the Buffalo Bills are starting to interview other offensive coordinators, but I really think Joe Brady is definitely clearly the front runner for Bills Mafia to be offensive coordinator for many years to come. You couple all of these things together, and I think it is definitely Joe Brady and the Brady Bunch solidifying themselves with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, this revamped offensive line, a solidified offensive line. There are just a couple missing pieces on offense. I said it before in my previous video. Maybe we do bring in Thad Lewis as a quarterback coach. Maybe we bring in Bill Belichick if he doesn't land a head coaching job to just kind of overall see things as a quarterback coach and help Sean McDermott for situational football. Obviously, Bill Belichick is a genius and probably understands football more so than any human alive. But let me know what you think about this Thad Lewis offensive coordinator interview. Do you think it really does just boil down to that Rooney Rule? Do you agree that Joe Brady is clearly the front runner and will be our offensive coordinator for 2024 and years to come? Drop your comment below. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe. If you want to support me further, check the link in the description, the Buffalo Chicken Wing merch. Also, we have Course Careers offering you guys online certificates to get hired directly right away to land a 100% remote job. But I appreciate you guys all so much. Hit like, subscribe, and go Bills.